Sometimes apps have no data to display. For example, there may be no new messages in someone's email inbox. So as developers, we need to handle this situation gracefully. Well-designed apps will even try to make the experience a little bit more pleasant with, say, a cute graphic, for example. Even better would be to fill the empty space with some starter content or advice on how to get started. This will vary based on what's appropriate for your app. For now, let's focus on a very simple empty state that clearly communicates that there were no earthquakes found. This is much better than having a blank screen. Now, you're welcome to expand on this and make the empty state more sophisticated in the future, but the question of whether or not the USGS web server will ever return 0 earthquakes is a different story, and in any case, it's ideal for our app to contain logic to handle the scenario if it ever happens. Fortunately, the Android framework team already expected that this would be a common use case, so they exposed a way for developers to set an empty view for a list view, which will only be displayed whenever there is no data in the list, meaning the adapter's dataset is empty. In this coding task, you're going to implement this behavior in the Quake Report app. The first thing you should do is modify the XML layout for the earthquake activity to have a view group that contains 2 children, the list view and a text view for the empty view. Now, the empty view and the list view should be siblings within the parent view group. Both siblings should overlap, and the list view should take up the full height and width of the screen, while the text view should be centered within the full screen. Once you've updated the layout, next I want you to modify the earthquake activity Java class so that in the onCreate method, you set the empty view method on the list view object and pass in the empty view. Here's the documentation for the setEmptyView method. Once it's set, when there are no items in the list, the Android framework will hide the list view and make this empty view visible. If there are items, however, the list view will be made visible and this empty view will be hidden. All of these changes in view visibility are automatically handled for you, which is pretty sweet. One more caveat I want to point out is that when you first launch the app, there's no data yet because we haven't finished loading it. To avoid having the no earthquakes found message blink on the screen briefly while the data is being loaded for the first time, only assign the text in the empty state text view after the first load is completed. So here in the onLoad finished method. Now, can you think of a way to verify that the empty view works? Here's a little hint. You'll want to temporarily comment out some code. Check these boxes when you're done. Then you can try the bonus challenge. Do you know of an Android app that tries to make the empty state be a pleasant user experience? Go ahead and share a screenshot in the discussion forum linked below the quiz.